So you read the title, and before I directly get into the three characters that I think every man should learn from, I just want to tell you that what were the criteria that I characterized these three guys on. So these three guys are characterized on the basis of the three qualities that I personally think that every man should have, and which are the most important qualities for a man to really live the best life that he can and also serve the best purpose he can as a man. So the three qualities that I'm going to be basing each character on in this video is anger management, because as a man you're probably like furious and you can get angry easily, so you have to manage that. The next thing is having a sense of purpose that is above you, and you're willing to strive towards that, and you can sacrifice everything else for that. So for some people, if like you can uh, imagine the greats of any sport, like Michael Jordan, like that guy could have probably like sacrificed his child to become the best basketball player in the world. But the thing is, like, that's the kind of obsession that guy had of becoming that person. And the last thing is having a good physique and really that kind of charismatic aura that can make women basically feel safe around you and trust you and being comfortable around you. So let's start with the first character. So for the first character in the first topic, if any of you has watched anime, it's probably really like guessable. So the character I'm talking about is none other than Thorfinn from Vinland Saga. So Thorfinn, if you watched Vinland Saga or read the manga, I'll tell you a little bit about that without actually like trying to spoil anything. So it's a story about a young guy who is living in like a remote village in like a far off land, and the thing is like he gets he gets like bad guys and raiders basically come to his village and do something terrible to him, and then he seeks revenge. He wants to kill the leader of that, you can say, raiding group or whatever. And then for the entirety of the first season of the anime he tries doing that, and then all of that goes away, like his anger, his, you can say like his hatred, his revenge. He realizes that all of that was just so meaningless, and then he becomes this really monk type of guy that can, like, he basically forgives everyone for everything, and he becomes like, it's also a bit depressing to watch because there's a line in the second season. He says that nothing good has ever happened ever in my life, and that's like so sad to hear, but it's his journey from recovering that. Like this, he basically comes to the lowest point of his life after failing to get his like sense of purpose. And it was also like a false sense of purpose, like he did not really understand what he wanted to do with his life. He just wanted to get this revenge as a young guy, and then when he can't get that, then he starts to really realize that what is actually the really like meaningful purpose and what he should care about. And then he like basically gets on his kindness arc, and he becomes a really kinder person. And there's also another famous line from the second season, is that I have no enemies, which like shook up basically everyone when the first line came out, and there were so many edits of it being made on social media. But the thing is, when that guy realizes that, he starts to really put value, and basically he started to value his anger more. He wasn't getting angry for the smallest things, like there were people who were throwing, like bumping him or even beating him up, but he's like, it's fine, like no worries, there's only like, you're only hurting me, it's fine. And he forgives everyone. And I think that's the level of patience and tolerance that every man should have. I'm not saying that you shouldn't ever be angry, or you shouldn't use your anger for good. Like obviously, if you're going around, like if you're taking your son on a walk and some random old like dude starts to like scold him for no reason, or if he gets into a fight, or if your own child does something really bad and something like that he shouldn't be doing, you should get angry. But the thing is, you should put your anger on a pedestal basically, and you should only think that this is something that I can use if it's a really big issue. So for example, if I'm imagining myself as a father, and if my child like spilled water on the carpet, or if they like broke something by accident or anything like that, then these are things that don't require my anger. So I can like probably laugh it off and say like, okay, it's fine, no problem. Because the amount of anger I'll show you, that's how much meaningless my anger will become. And that's exactly what Thorfinn realizes as well. This feeling of emptiness, that what was my entire life for? Like when he's unable to get that revenge, right? And from that point onwards, he basically stores away his anger, his hatred, everything. And he's like, he doesn't actually say this in the anime, but I'm telling you, like, if a real guy does it, or me personally, that you have to see your anger as something that is precious, and you shouldn't really be throwing it away everywhere else. And you should have standards for your anger. If you can, like, put it in a concise statement, it's that you should only use your anger or your hatred for something that's really that really bothers you. And usually in those cases it is also necessary as well to be angry, because otherwise if you're not angry, you can't really like handle that situation with as much, you can say, as much weight to it, and as much significance to it. Because like, if your child, right, if your child hits a woman, like I have a son, and I see him hit a woman, like if I'm not angry with him right then and there, then it's probably gonna harm him more than benefit him, because that is something that a male should never do. And I need to teach my son that thing, right? But that's like overall the one character that I would say for anger management and things like that, for becoming a kinder person, like you should learn from Thorfinn from Vinland Saga. And I think that watching the anime is enough, but the anime is not complete yet, and I'm also like an anime only for Vinland Saga as well. So I watched the 2 seasons and I'm waiting for the third one. You can read the manga if you want. So the second anime character will actually be very surprising for you, because I don't see that anime getting talked about that much as well. But that is Lelouch from Code Geass. So most of you probably have not watched Code Geass. If you like the new anime watchers, like in OG anime space, it was like a really good show, and it was like even on par with some of the greatest anime of all time, and it was considered like to be the best anime in some people's mind. But and it's really that good. Like it's an old animation, a little bit weird art style, but it's really good anime. Now I am going to, because I can't talk about Lelouch without spoilers. So if any of you like hasn't watched Code Geass, I would say watch that. And like, I don't know how I can talk about it without spoiling the anime or the ending specifically. But the thing is, like, just watch it and then come back to this video. Or if you just don't care about it, then just continue watching. So there's this guy Lelouch, and he has this his very own sense of justice on who should rule the world, and how, like, basically his country should go about, and like getting rid of the corrupt people. And there's also like robots in that type of anime, like not exactly robots, but like war machines that you can control yourself. And the thing is, Lelouch, for most of his life, he leads this rebellion group, and he kills people as well throughout his like rebellion. He kills like the military guys, and he also has this weird power that he can make anybody do whatever he wants. He gets that pretty early in the anime. But the thing is, at the end, like he basically addresses the whole world and leads this whole rebellion with a mask and a specific costume and a character. And the thing is, he realizes at the end that he did everything and he achieves whatever he wants to achieve. But at the end, he realizes that the character and the mask, what that represents, is more important for Lelouch than himself. And he basically puts that above him. And at towards the end of the show, like, he basically leads the whole world, right? Like he becomes the head of the, I'm not sure what exactly he becomes like, but he becomes like a president ish person, and he has control of the entire world, and everybody's applauding him. But then he sacrifices himself, and he asks his friend to basically wear on that entire mask and come and kill him. And that was like such an unexpected ending for Gorgias, because nobody expected that. And I'm pretty sure there's also a line in there as well, which I like, it's a common knowledge, but like, anybody who kills should be prepared to be killed himself. And that really summed up the show. And for most people, like, that show went from a 7 out of 10 to an immediate 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10 after that ending. It's one of the best endings in anime of all time. But the thing is, that guy's dedication, especially as a young guy, like this kind of thing is pretty unrealistic in anime, like a 20-year-old is ruling the world or things like that. But the thing is, like his level of dedication is so unmatched that he is willing to off himself just for that. And that's the thing that really gave me goosebumps. And I think that if anybody should have like a sense of purpose, like you can either watch Lelouch from Code Geass, or if any of you like are a little bit more new generation and don't want to watch that, like you can also get the same kind of lessons from Eren from Attack on Titan. Although you shouldn't watch that, because in the end, like again, spoiler alert, he ends up like killing 80% of humanity. That's not a like good look on anybody. But the thing is, like the thing I'm trying to teach through these anime characters, and the thing they're trying to teach you as well, is that you have to have a sense of purpose in your life, and your life is meaningless, and this purpose must be so great that you are willing to sacrifice anything for it. So those are the two characters. And the last thing that I would say, and that's the most, you can say the most famous character, one of the most famous characters in today's generation, and that is Toji Fushiguro from Jujutsu Kaisen. And boy, like this is one of my favorite characters of all time, because of everything. But anyway, so why I think this is someone whom everybody should learn from. So I'll give you a bit of context of why is he so famous. Basically, he's like the ideal person every girl wants. Like he's nonchalant, he's super strong, he doesn't care about anything else, he can kill without like thinking, because girls like these days like that kind of psychopathic, you can say, mentality. And other than that, he's also like super attractive voice, super jacked, everything about him is basically perfect from this regard, like in attracting girls. So why I think everyone should learn from him is, first of all, see that strength is very important. And I think like Toji really proves that, because when you see him in the anime, you realize that a really cool part about him, or what makes Toji Toji, is the fact that he's strong. And you can also implicate that with your real life, that you can make being strong as part of your identity. So I'm not saying strong as like, you can also take that meaning if you want, because either way it's like a beneficial thing for you. But the thing is, like I'm saying, being strong is in the ability to fight, or in the ability to fight for your loved ones in case of need, not lifting a lot of gym or things like that. You can do that as well if that's what it means to be strong for you, but I'm more on the martial arts kind of side. And some people also, like a few of my friends, they have associated this kind of thing from me, which I personally don't think that I deserve it. Like at this stage of my life, like I'm not that strong in either martial arts or gym. But the thing is, the feeling you get when someone understands that, okay, this guy, strength is a part of who he is, it's the best feeling in the world as a man. And that's one thing that I would say for Toji. And another thing that is in Toji that I would say that every man can learn from is his charisma, and the way that he like basically carries himself. That is a kind of guy that you see as a pillar, basically. Like he's also really tall in the anime, but like you can, his pillar as an imaginative aura is basically what I can imagine, that every moment that watches him, she'll feel safe around him, because he can hurt everybody else, but if like you're with him, like if you're with Toji, then you're protected and nobody can touch you, even, because that's how strong Toji is. And that's how he, like it's not even about actually being that powerful, right? Like you can give that kind of feeling, that kind of safety and comfort and all of those feelings to a woman by just being that guy. Because realistically, you can imagine that in your like 50 years of life, these kind of events where you actually have to stand up for your woman, there are probably gonna come like 2 or 3 times max, if you live in like in a reasonably safe area. And in those moments, like even an average man can like protect his woman if he's like you can say, if he loves her very much and he stands up for her, for her. But the thing is, like it's not hard to take control of that situations, but it is about that aura and about that personality that you have that matters other than these events. Like if you have that kind of personality, even if this thing never happens, your wife or whoever is with you, she's definitely sure that what you're going to do in that situation. And this kind of mental surety is what makes her attached to you. She's like, this is the kind of guy that I can just turn my brain off and like be with him entirely. And that's what I think really is an attractive thing for a woman. And not for a woman, basically what women find attractive in men. And I think obviously attracting women and finding the best partner you can for your life is really a crucial part of being a man as well, and being strong as well. I think strength is also really important. So those were the three characters that I think every man should learn from. And I think if anybody can master these three qualities from anywhere, not just anime, I think their life will improve way drastically. Like these are the things that really move the needle more than anything else. And I think that's what everyone should try to learn these things as well. Like anger management, basically having a sense of purpose, and then being strong and being creating a personality or creating an aura that people around you feel protected and feel comfortable. So let me know your favorite characters or any other character basically that you think anybody can learn from, and I'll be reading every single one of those comments. And I'm really like an anime fan basically, so I love talking about anime characters and how they impact our real life and things like that. So let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.